Hope all of you physically healthy and mentally happy. As usual, beginning of today Dharma class. So we have been studying Dharma for many years. So we have been studying Dharma from many masters. Most importantly, we need to apply the direct word, all the knowledge we have, we must use them in our daily life. Particularly when we face big difficulties, when we are in very big, difficult situation, in that moment, we really need to apply, we need to practice the Dharma according to the difficult situation. Otherwise, so we gain a lot of Dharma knowledge, so we receive a lot of teachings from many masters. If we don't really apply the knowledge when we are very difficult situation, then the Dharma knowledge, all the teaching, all the instruction we receive for many years from many master, everything, look like become useless. Therefore, make sure the knowledge you got, the Dharma knowledge you have, you must apply in our daily life, very particularly when we, facing a lot of problems, when we are in very difficult situation. That moment is the most important moment to apply Dharma. For example, you very much like someone, like your relatives or your parents or your friends or your neighbor, you very much like the person. Somehow, unexpectedly, the person passed away. That moment, if you realize you really cannot control the emotion, you feel so upset, you feel so unhappy, that means it's a very clear indication you just have the knowledge. You never ever apply the knowledge when you have very difficult moment. Therefore, look at right now, we are in 21st century. When we think about the whole world situation, the weather, the disharmonies between different countries, different nations, and unstable of the economic instability, and also year by years. So we have been having many different types of sickness, virus, disease. Also in the future, we may have very serious natural disaster. If we name natural, is a natural. We will have a lot of disaster due to the global warming or due to increasing the ocean. So we really have to prepare well through our studying the Dharma. Any of you, if you really apply the Dharma in your daily life, some worse thing happen in your life. For you, very easy to understand the situation, very easy to accept it, very easy to overcome the emotional problems. Overcoming the physical problem, overcoming the non-physical problem, overcoming from the non-physical thing, like overcoming from depression, overcoming from anxiety, overcoming from loss good relationship with someone. Those are most difficult, more difficult than the overcoming from facing the physical problem things. For example, if the weather is very hot, yes, we feel it's very annoying. But for us, we use air condition, or we take a shower, or we wear very comfortable and thin clothes. So we overcome from the hotness, the heat. When we feel hungry, we eat food. We overcome from the suffering of hungry and thirsty. So when we have the the emotional or mental suffering, everybody in the world, everybody has problem with the anger, attachment, ignorance, hatred, ego, pride. Everybody has equally has this problem. But particularly, so many people has depression. Many people have a lot of anxiety. So if you have this kind of emotional problems, you really need to know how to overcome. Otherwise, like anxiety, depression, this kind of over-excitement, this kind of mental suffering bring you into very serious problem, push you into very difficult situation. Then you can see many people, doesn't matter the age, elderly people, very old, or like a young or very young age, we can see all over the world many people commit suicide because the anxiety, depression, worry is push you into very difficult situation. At the end, for you, it look like there's no any solution for me to overcome this problem. If you have this kind of feeling, that means you really don't know the meaning of Dharma. You really don't know how to apply, how to use the Dharma for to overcome this kind of emotional problems. So we have been attending many teachings, very profound teaching, very many teachings. When we attend, look like, oh, I know this meaning, I know that meaning, I know how to apply. But in the reality, we just think I know how to apply. Actually, we really don't know how to apply. Therefore, many of you, usually your life is totally busy. Your time is totally occupied with the other activities. Still, you try to attend class with me, with other master. I'm really urge all of you to apply the Dharma as much as you can. For example, somehow somebody say, hey, 100% I think you're going to die today, tonight. Today is your last day. How do you feel? Somebody said, this day, today is your last day. Tomorrow, you're no more as a human. How do you feel? We feel very scared. We feel a lot of worry what to do. Because our mind so deeply, strongly attached with the samsaric happiness. Our mind so strongly, deeply attached with our relatives, friends, our belongings. So we feel what to do. Today is my last day. I cannot finish all my food. I cannot finish to wear all my clothes today. I have a this and this, that if you, that moment, if you feel so difficult to accept the truth, mean, again, you don't know how to apply Dharma, and also every day, you really don't meditate on impermanence and death. If you, have been applying, have been practicing Dharma in your daily life, then once somebody says, hey, today is your last day, you are no more as human since today. Today is your last day. Then you feel very much happy. You feel very, happiness. You feel really enjoy. Because what I have done so many things in this life. There's nothing I can do anymore. Now I'm very happy to leave this world. Then you can have another good life. So therefore, the simple Buddhist practitioner, no need to, if they don't have any worry about death, that means, if you don't have any sense of worry about your death, that means you are very simple Buddhist practitioner. Second, if you don't have any scary, if you don't feel any sense of scary about your death, that means you are the middling types of Buddhist practitioner. If you are able to free from the death, mean you are the best practitioner. The simplest practitioner they don't have any worry about death. I'm okay to die anytime, today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. I'm ready. Mean you fully prepared. Mean it doesn't mean you are ready to die. You are fully prepared. Mean you already have things to carry for next life, which is good for you for your next life. That means you don't have any worry. Second, the middling, they don't have any sense of scary about death. I no need to scare, because in my, since I know how to practice Dharma, until now, I'm a very honest person. I never deceive other. I have been, being a very pure person. I didn't have a lot of negative karma. I no need to, worry about my death. And I'm not scared about my death. Second, I'm fully prepared. I have a lot of merit to bring next life, to bring happiness. Also, I fully reduce or eliminated my negative karmas. So there's no reason to be scared about death. Then the best practitioner, of course, they are no worry about death, no scary about death. Also, they able to free from the death. Mean, after the person pass away, the person not going to born again in samsara with the negative action and the triggered by the three poison mind. So we have to, practice the dharma. The number one, free from the death, free from the aging, free from the sickness. Next, since this life, so I'm not going to born in samsara with the negative karma. There's no aging, no death. That means I'm free from the samsara. Then, if you cannot really, cannot be free from the death, then try to, do proper 10 virtuous action. No worry about death, no scare about death. Right? Therefore, it is so important to practice. Otherwise, we have been studying Dharma for many years, for many masters. So, but we very much worry about our future life. So our mind is so strongly attached with the samsara thing. Means, in the one hand, we learn, we have been receiving a lot of teachings, a lot of instruction, how to control anger, attachment, ignorance. We have been receiving all this in the one hand. Second hand, on the other hand, we never practice them. Mean, still you receive a lot of teaching, but we are very worried about this life, very worried about future, very worried about death. This thing mean, you don't practice the Dharma. Therefore, it is so, because sometimes I'm I'm very concerned about all of you. Why? So you have been studying, you're attending class from many masters, which is very good. I'm very concerned, I'm not sure you are, practicing them in your daily life. Therefore, at the beginning, I request all of you, not just study Dharma, not study Dharma as a history, study Dharma as a very important matter, important factor for our daily life. Therefore, at the beginning, I'm have been requesting. Today, I'm again requesting all of you. Then second, so we have been studying the intermediate way. There's a entering into middle way. Mean, we need to know the truth, the ultimate reality of all phenomena. In order to realize the truth, the reality of all phenomena, we must be free from the two extremes. You right? Two extreme. Mean, when you think about any phenomena, you must think this phenomena merely exists depending on only causes and condition. Any of these phenomena not really exists independently. That means you try to free from one of the extreme, which is absolutism. There's no such a thing. He says absolutely exists that way. The second, yes, so when you think, when you reflect when you analyze, any phenomena using the logics and reasonings, do analytical, do analyze about the phenomena. When you analyze more closely the phenomena, then sometimes you do feel, oh, the phenomena is like, for me, look like dream, but not exist. Not existent phenomena. That means you fall into one extreme. Therefore, when you analyze the phenomena, you analyze that at the end, you must have the knowledge, idea, after analyze about the phenomena. Yeah, this phenomena exists as a dream, not really, not really nothingness, be nothingness. It's there, not as an independent, not as a, nothingness. That means the middle way, entering in middle way. This is we're talking about, the view, how we should view all the phenomena. If you only focusing on, the reality of the phenomena, yes, therefore are very easy to overcome from the ignorance. Then attachment, anger, so and so. It doesn't mean you can be very compassionate person. Therefore, second, on the other hand, we need to think about how things really exist. Second, we must think how I must be, how I should be very, loving, kindness person, how I should be very compassionate person for all sentient beings. There has been, again, is the, like a middle way. The view middle way. In your daily practice is middle way, because you practice emptiness. On the other hand, you practice great compassion. Then many people are very interested to practice bodhicitta, which is very good. Without cultivate compassion, you cannot cultivate great compassion. Without without cultivation, great compassion, you cannot really cultivate bodhicitta. Therefore, at the beginning, right? For example, when we in other countries, Singapore, we don't have a lot of field, or we don't have a kind of a culture to cultivate the crops like a rice field, right? We don't have. Look at the farmer in the autumn when they collect all the seeds, let's say rice. The rice is fully ripened. They cut the harvest. They collect the rice. Then after they collect the rice, they divide into two types: very healthy rice, not so healthy rice. The farmer eat the unhealthy rice. They save the healthy rice for next spring to sow in the seeds. Therefore, without healthy seeds, we cannot have a healthy sprout. Cannot. Doesn't matter how much you add water, soil, you put a lot of effort, but the sprout grow very weak sprout. If the sprout is weak, Still you think I can have a very good fruits. Cannot. It's a reality. Same way, right? It's up to you. You want to be Bodhisattva, you want to be hearer, you want to be solitary realizer, Sarvaka and Pratika Buddha, or Bodhisattva, up to you. If you really wish to be Bodhisattva, be Bodhisattva or non-Bodhisattva, it depends on Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta depends on great compassion. Great compassion depends on compassion. Pure compassion depends on pure love. Pure love depends on you really need to recognize all sentient beings without exceptions, my dear, like my dear mother. When you really accept it, all sentient beings are like my dear mother like. Dear mother, then somebody achieving good thing, you feel so happy. You feel very rejoiced. If you don't really accept, you just verbally you are saying all sentient beings are my dear, like my dear brother, sister, mother. Right? You just verbally saying, you are not really accept them as your dear, because somebody receiving good things, life more becoming successful, you are jealous. That means verbally you say my dear, and in reality you are not. Therefore, please at the beginning please do the great compassion. A great compassion is like a seed to be Bodhisattva. If you become Bodhisattva, then you become a Buddha. When you become a Buddha, then you can teach Dharma according to the mental disposition. Therefore, the hearer, Sarvaka and Pratika Buddhas are arised from Buddha. Buddhas arise from Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas are from great compassion. Right? Therefore, so don't practice so many nonsense things. Follow the step. Great compassion, bodhicitta. Great compassion depend on love. The pure, not the like afflict kind of, not the affection kind of love, purely love. In order to purely love all sentient beings, then you really, truly, you need to accept, truly recognize them are all sentient beings are like my dear mother. Right? Enter in middle way. Then, after you enter into Bodhisattva path like bodhicitta, then practice with the emptiness, then you become, finally you realize emptiness through direct perception, then you become Arya, Arhat. So Arya, not Arhat. So don't mix up Arya and Arhat. Arya. Then singing path, meditation path, no more learning path, since you become Arhat. Right? Then first Bhumi. So in the first Bhumi, then we talk about the quality of the Bodhisattva. They actually at the beginning, the first Bhumi, there's a extensive presentation of the quality of the first Bhumi. Right? It has three parts. You must remember the quality that beautify the Bodhisattvas on the mind stream, mental continuum. Number one. Number two, the qualities. That means the first Bhumi, the qualities that outshine others' mental continuum. Then third, number 3, the quality that come to be superior on the fast grown. So 3 quality, right? Then when we discuss about 3 quality, then the root text at 1.8 surpasses those born from the sages' speech and the Pratika Buddhas through the power of his merit, and his merit increase ever more. When it gone afar, he will also surpasses them by intelligence. So this quote is a very, very, very important. If you really want to study thoroughly about, between the differences between Mahayana, Hinayana, so this is very important. Bodhisattva who abide on the first bhumi, they can outshine Pratika and Sarvaka and Pratika Buddha by merit, but not by intelligence. I mean, the intelligence, the knowledge which realize emptiness, they have an equal kind of knowledge. Both of them realize emptiness directly. In Sarvaka, Pratika Buddha, and the Bodhisattva who abide first bhumi, the three has the same knowledge, which is realized emptiness. Therefore, by knowledge, you cannot see much difference between Sarvaka and Pratika Buddha and Bodhisattva. For example, all of you can speak English. Then, based on English language, we cannot say you are superior. You can outshine them. They can outshine you. Because all of you equally speak English. Then, some of you, are not just speaking English. You have you become you are very literature in English. Then you can say, yes, we all speak English, but this person is very unique within the English speaker, because he speaks English, as well as he's a very, poemer, right? Poem, who can write a lot of, nice poem. Same way, when the Bodhisattva reached to the 7 bhumi, then the Bodhisattva can outshine Pratika and Sarvaka and Pratika Buddha by intelligence. But then when you compare the mind, which is the emptiness, between Bodhisattva who abide in the 7 bhumi and the Sarvaka and Pratika, then you can see, oh, there's a huge, differences there. So this point actually, Chandrakirti was saying, whether you are Bodhisattva or Sarvaka or Pratika Buddha, all must realize emptiness. This is the point. Realize emptiness. Therefore, you can see, like according to Theravada tradition, now in like Bangkok, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Laos, wherever, from their point of view, they really believe, if I practice the Four Noble Truths with the 16 attributes, I can achieve liberation. With the Four Noble Truths, with the 16 attributes, if I practice bodhicitta, I can be Buddha. I no need to realize emptiness. This is the point of view from the Theravada tradition. Right? Then, within the first noble truth, the truth of suffering has a 4 characteristics. I repeat 100 times. Impermanence, suffering, emptiness, selflessness. The third, the emptiness, the term is emptiness, right? Actually, this emptiness is not referring to the empty of intrinsic existence. Remember this one, self-sufficient, substantially existent. Right? Therefore, Chandrakirti was very much emphasizing Sarvaka and Pratyeka Buddha both have to realize emptiness. Have to realize emptiness. Otherwise, there's a few reasons, right? One, if they don't realize emptiness, they still have a kind of concept. The 5 aggregates exist intrinsically. Then they cannot really realize emptiness of the person, emptiness of the self. Then they cannot really eliminate the innate ignorance, innate afflict emotions. Only can reduce, only can control for temporarily, cannot eliminate from the root, cannot eliminate the seeds, because they haven't realized emptiness, they haven't completely realized emptiness of the self, emptiness of the person, because they still have a thoughts. The 5 aggregates still exist intrinsically. So this one I was keep thinking, how I really can explain you to totally stop the concept of intrinsically existent. Then I was keep thinking, like this morning. For example, let's say everybody has a, very important person. We very much like the person. Then one day the person is pass away. But the body is still in the home, right? So when we go in the room, we very much recall the person. We very much miss the person because the body reminds us the person. Then, one day we remove the body. Then the missing one become little better. But still when we see the bed, pillow, all the belongings, it still remind the person. Because our mind still can see the belongings, cannot see the body. Still, we miss the person. Then we totally clean the room. All the belongings we give away, we throw away, we totally clean the room. Then next day when we enter the room, so we still miss the person, but not that strongly, because there's nothing, they remind us the person, become much better. Then you just look around all the house, all the room, you cannot see things which remind you the person. Somehow you saw very tiny picture of the person on the wall. It's a much smaller than the, like our nail. Suddenly, you miss the person because your mind still, attached the person. Therefore, First, the gross level, we need to negate the gross level of negation, which is self-sufficient, substantial existence. Still, we have the idea, we have the thoughts, oh, the thing still exists inherently. Therefore, we don't have a really gross kind of, strong, very obvious kind of attachment. Still, attachment, anger is there because our mind still attached with the five aggregates as a, independently existent. Therefore, finally, we need to realize emptiness of the five aggregates. Then we completely will realize emptiness of the person. Since there's no any kind of little like a doubt or point to have a self-grasping, that means we fully realize emptiness of the phenomena, emptiness of the person, then we can eliminate the affiliate emotion from the root. This is the one point. Point number two, if the Sarvaka and Pratyeka Buddha, don't realize emptiness, then they say, then the Pratyeka and Sarvaka Buddha and the seer, right? Seer of the non-Buddhist resemble, mean they become similar. Their practice, become similar. How? That the seer non-Buddhist practitioner can control the 3,000 mind all the way until the peak of the samsara. Until, but finally they cannot really reduce or temporarily the attachment, ignorance, above the top of the samsara, which is we call, peak of the samsara. That means Hira and Sarvaka Buddha also become temporarily, they can reduce the ignorance and so, not from the root, is become similar, right? So this is the intent. This is explained by Lama Tsongkhapa based on Chandrakirti intent. Then there's a question: how come all this, the doubt or discussion? In one tradition, say all Buddhist sadhus must realize emptiness, not the Sarvaka and Pratyeka Buddha. Also, other tradition said Sarvaka and Pratyeka Buddha no need to do emptiness. They just practice the Four Noble Truth. In the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truth, they can achieve liberation. Right? Then Lama Tsongkhapa said, I will explain well this matter. Then he said, without realizing emptiness, if you study the Four Noble Truth, plus the 16 attributes, you will realize them. You will realize empty of self-sufficient, substantial existence. Then you meditate on the selflessness in emptiness, this, the meaning of emptiness for many, many years, you will realize the emptiness directly. But the mind, which is realized, directly, the empty of self-sufficient, substantial existence, the path, the mind, neither the saying path nor the meditation path. It never, include any of the Arya path. If you meditate on only, if you practice only the emptiness, which is empty of self-sufficient, substantial existence, if you practice it only, for the time being you can reduce, but you cannot eliminate the afflict emotion, and the seeds. Right? Yes, if you practice the Four Noble Truth, 16 attributes, you can practice, you can meditate, you can realize that directly, but that part never be saying part. Right? This is intended, explain the intent of the Chandrakirti. Now the third one, it is not intended by Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti. Also, it is same view from the Shantideva. So without reading the books, simply I will explain what actually Shantideva said. First, there's a kind of argument. You can achieve liberation practicing the Four Noble Truths and attributes. Why, you have to realize emptiness? Why the practitioner need to do emptiness? This is a kind of debate or argument or critique. For example, somebody said to Shantideva, why you have been saying all the Arya must realize emptiness? Because they can achieve liberation based on practicing Four Noble Truths and the 16 attributes. Why? They need to realize emptiness. Right? Then Shantideva said, the words I will cite you. Let me see. I'm going to recite the verses from the Bodhisattva way of life. From the Bodhisattva way, for the scripture state, without this path, there's no awakening. The Shantideva said, from the scripture, all the Buddhist practitioners need to realize emptiness, right? Then somebody said, why they have to realize emptiness? They can achieve liberation, Buddhahood, only practicing Four Noble Truths with the 16 attributes. Why? They need to realize emptiness. Then Shantideva answered, for the scripture state that without this path, the path which is emptiness, without this path, there's no awakening. Right? Therefore, the scripture from the Buddha said, without realizing emptiness, the path which is without realizing emptiness, there's no awakening mind. There's no awakening. There's no liberation. Then he, quoted, a lot of verses from the Prajna Paramita teaching. This is one reason. Then the second point is, if one is, again here, if one is free through the elimination of the affliction, then it should happen immediately afterward. That means if someone can, eliminate all the afflictive emotions, only practicing the Four Noble Truths and the 16 attributes, then after they realize these 16 attributes, they must immediately eliminate all the affliction, right? Why they cannot? This is the second point. The most important, easy to understand for us, remember the 12 links dependent origination, 12 links. The 12 links has a two different, kind of sequence, two different orders. Based on the teaching, first ignorance, second the volition or karma, third is the consciousness, then name and form, right? Then the sources. But if there's no after karma, it goes directly consciousness. Right? The actual the sequence of cause and effect. Cause and effect. First, we have ignorance. Based on ignorance, there arise anger, attachment, so and so. Then we engage into action. Engage into positive action, we accumulate positive with the three poison mind. When we engage into negative action, then we accumulate negative karma. We engage into positive action, we accumulate positive actions. This is very clear, right? Action. Then, right now, so for example, we have both actions, negative action and positive action. We have a negative karma, positive karma. Both. Then if I ask you, so moment of the death, which karma will activate? Positive karma and negative karma. I'm asking question. So moment of our death, when we are dying, in that moment, which karma will activate? The question. The answer by based on the Abhidharma text, Abhidharma treasure. Which one is more stronger? Generally, if you have a lot more negative karma than the less positive karma, the moment of the death, the negative karma will activate. Right? If your positive karma is more stronger than your own negative karma, then moment of the death, the positive karma will activate. If this both is very equal, 100% negative, 100% positive karma, then which one? That means the familiarization. Yeah, you have 100 negative karma, you have 100 positive karma. Which one activate? Moment of the death. Then your familiarization. If you are very much familiar with the, your mind, very familiar with the negative action, the negative karma activate. If your mind is very familiar with the positive karma, the positive karma activate. Then what happened? They are equal. Our mind is familiar, equally familiar with the negative and positive. Which one first? Then which one accumulate first? It will activate, right? Activate. Now we need to know how to activate the karma. Then among the two, remember, clinging and grasping, right? Craving and grasping. This means moment of the death, somehow you feel very cold. You feel so cold. Then you are very much clinging on hotness. You wish to have a hot, like sunny, have a heater around you, want to wear warm clothes. Your mind is clinging on the kind of warmness and hotness. That means your mind is clinging in hotness. Then your mind very much grabs, on the hotness. or warmness. That means this kind of thoughts activating the negative karmas. Karma. Moment of the death, somehow due to your familiarization, due to your karma, due to your daily practice, somehow your mind become very compassionate. Compassionate. You remember, all sentient beings, your mind have a very compassionate mind toward them. That means again, clinging or you can say, let's go. Then grasping towards all sentient being with the compassion. That means these two minds activate the positive karma, right? This is how the karma activate. So Shantideva very much explain the different, subtle different grasping and clinging, like grasping and clinging. So he said, the practitioner who only practicing the Four Noble Truth and the 16 attributes, they don't have the gross attachment, desire, grasping, or like craving and grasping, gross. But still they have very subtle type of craving and grasping. Very subtle, kind of grasping, craving and grasping. Because the mind still, have a grasping of, the mind still grasp, what substantial existence. That's why the example I said, you clean all the house, remove all the object. When you see very tiny picture of the person, immediately your mind is attached to the person. Therefore, the practitioner haven't really realized empty of inherently existent. That means the mind is still attached. The thing as a independently existent. Based on this kind of view, then there's a subtle types of attachment, very subtle kinds of grasping. It causes to activate karma and push into samsara. This is the point of view from the we call Shantideva. That means Lama Tsongkhapa tried to explain Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, and the Shantideva. They have a same kind of idea. Mean three of them equally believe all the Arya, the Mahayana Arya, Hinayan Arya, all the Arya need to realize emptiness. Without realizing emptiness, there's no, awakening. There's no liberation. One, without realizing emptiness, they cannot eliminate the seeds of the emotions, seeds of the ignorance, right? Then the last time I explained the differences between seeds and potential according to the Vasangika, right? Here again, we are not just studying, all this thing because we are very free person. We have a lot of free time. No. So look like we all, we are very serious. We are very serious how to overcome from the ignorance, how to free from the samsara, how to achieve liberation. This is our motivation. We are very serious, right? Therefore, you should not just study as a general knowledge. Oh, Hinayana this, Mahayana this, Chandrakirti said that, Shantideva said that, Lama Tsongkhapa said like that. No. We must think how I can be freed from samsara, how I can free from samsara, from ignorance. How I can stop arousing ignorance. That means there's a two view. One, just practice Four Noble Truth with the 16 attributes. You can be free from ignorance. You achieve liberation. Right? Then Chandrakirti, Nagarjuna, Shantideva said, no. If you only practice the Four Noble Truth with the 16 attributes, you cannot achieve liberation. You need to realize emptiness. Therefore, what we need to believe, in order to free from the samsara, achieving liberation, I need to realize emptiness. I need to realize emptiness. Right? You must think. Not just thinking, we must try to realize emptiness. Then, I think, of course, everything, how I should realize emptiness? You can say, yeah, I know, realize emptiness is very important. How should I realize emptiness? I said many times, very simple. Just look around you. Then, just absorb, one particular object, like a car, right? Say, you can say car. You can say car. They ask question. Oh, there's a car. Yes, there's a car. Then how the car exists? It exists really, independently or not? For us, look like car means is from there. It not depend on labeling. It's not really depend on the what you call designation. We thought car means there. We thought depend on our thoughts and name. It cannot. Right? Then finally we will notice, all phenomena around us is there, but merely our designation established by our thoughts and trend, then we say this is a car. Without naming, we can say, there's a something. We never say this is a car. But the thing has a function to move, go around, bring people here and there. But we never say there's a car. This is a car. But there's something is moving around us. For example, before human being exists in Singapore, this island, before human being, there's a water, there's a forest, there was a lot of fruits, there were a lot of mushrooms, so many things. But all the thing is functioning. The tree is growing and fall down, the grass is growing, produce the fruit, the monkey, the animal, they eat the fruit. But the things growing up, we cannot say there was a tree, because nobody designated it as a tree. Right? Therefore, all phenomena conventionally has a unique function, unique ability to perform something. But also things has an ability to perform, the ability to have an ability to producing things. But the produce also depend on many causes, condition. Then finally you think, things are there, not really exist from their side. Mainly our designation. We name this a car. We name, for example, like a gold, right? I always have a question. Why gold is so expensive? Because it's a rare. Is rare, I mean, why is still, very expensive? Gold, diamond. Now you can see, the people has a just concept and idea, oh, it must be charged a lot of money because it's very rare. Rare. But it doesn't have a very important kind of function to protect all human beings from suffering, no. But you can think about how the diamond, gold, expensive. Why? Right? Then look at like a coin, like cash. Actually, just piece of paper, this paper, because of, for example, this page is much bigger than the $100 notes. Much bigger. But it doesn't have a big value to buy things. If I give this this paper to a food court, nobody will give me, a cup of noodle. So when I give like a 10 notes dollar, they will give me, like a noodle. So why, this paper cannot get food? Why the $10 can get food? Why? Again, so we have a kind of, system, we have a rules and regulations since this is 100 notes, this 20 notes. Then one day, also the note becomes simple paper. Remember India, within one night, all the Indian notes all over the world is become trash. That means you can say everything mainly designated by human. Again, but we are living in this world. In this world, things established by human, right? Human. For example, when you give 100 notes, other person feels so happy. If you give the 100 notes to the dog or cats, cow, they just test the smell, they never feel so happy because he doesn't have a concept. These are important things. Therefore, no need to think too much, just look at, observe a particular object, reflect again and again as how this exists. Right? Then you will realize emptiness. Okay, now it's I think 4:12. So we will discuss more from the view from the Shantideva, but today we go a little bit through from the root text. So the point of view from Shantideva, so we will discuss more on next Saturday. So also please, if you have a book, please read continuously the view from the Shantideva. So now we will discuss about the quality of the first grown. Page number, the commentary from the commentary 106. The quality that comes to be superior on the first grown. This means 10 bhumi, each bhumi has a very unique, kind of quality, kind of superior on the first grown. quality that comes to be superior on the first ground. First ground, the practitioner become very superior on the practicing generosity. Second bhumi, the practitioner become very superior about practicing the shila. Mean the bodhisattva who abide on the first ground, he is very well know very well how to practice generosity. Even though he can give, he can offer his flesh and bone and heart and lungs to others very happily. But it's not that good how to practice the pure, pure morality, pure moral. For example, the bodhisattva who abide first bhumi, he can practice very well the moral before like sleeping. Then in the dream, when he see kind of beautiful object, attractive object thing, then he or she may have some kind of attachment about the attractive object in the dream. So in dream, he really cannot practice the pure moral, right? But the bodhisattva who abode in the second bhumi, he knew how to practice very well generosity. Also, he knew how to practice the moral very well, during the awakening time, during the sleeping time. Therefore, each bhumi has a very unique ability or superior to practice one of the 10 perfections. Therefore, the quality that comes to be superior on the first ground, it has 4 parts. The generosity of one abiding on the first ground. Generosity of the one abide on the first ground. Second, the number 2, the generosity of the lower station. The generosity of bodhisattva and the division of the perfection of generosity. Let me simply going to explain how the bodhisattva practice generosity. How the non-bodhisattvas, the person who are not bodhisattva, how they practice generosity. And how to practice generosity on the first bhumi. Then the division of the generosity. Number 1, the generosity of one abide on the first ground, the root text. At this point, the first cause of full awakening, the perfection of generosity, will become preeminent, committed to giving away even his ever flesh. Giving become a sign to inferior his unseen quality. So this is the present the generosity of the first ground. At this point, at the first point of the first bhumi, the first cause of the full awakening. That's what I said in the past. We need to know the differences, just merit and the virtuous action. Merit and virtuous action. So we can accumulate a lot of virtuous action, but we not really, we cannot accumulate the actual merit to cause to achieve liberation, cause to achieve Buddhahood. Mean all the merit we have been accumulating for millions of years. We can say merit, the virtuous action, only cause to have a positive result in the samsara. For example, when you are a very generous person, in next life you can be very wealthy person. You have a lot of wealth, right? But practicing generosity cannot be cause to achieve Buddhahood and liberation. Then the Bodhisattva first time reached to the first bhumi, then their practicing generosity is the first cause of full awakening. The perfection of generosity will become preeminent, committed to giving away even his very flesh. Giving become a sign to inferior his unsung quality. At this point, when the ground of perfect joy is attained, it is the perfection of generosity alone among the 10 perfections that become preeminent for the Bodhisattva. Mean the Bodhisattva who abide the first bhumi, he become very master. He know very well how to practice generosity, not the rest of the 9 perfections. Then Bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, he or she know very well how to practice generosity, moral, not the rest of the 8 perfections. Right? Therefore, here it is not the case, however, that he does not possess the other perfection. No, he or she possesses the 10 perfection, but he or she is not superior to practice the rest of the perfections. Okay, then also you should not think, oh, the Bodhisattva who abide the first bhumi, he or she can practice generosity, not the rest of the 9. Yes, he or she can practice the 10 perfection, but he or she is not in master to practice the 10 perfection, only become master how to practice generosity. That means how we know, I mean, he said he's a happily will give away, offer his flesh. I mean, that means you can see, oh, how come the person is happily giving, his flesh and bones and heart and lungs and kidneys to other. That means the person has a very unique practice. It means unseen quality. Right? This, it is not the case, however, that he does not possess the other perfection. The supermundane perfection of generosity is also the first cause of full awakening. This is, of course, to be understood in terms of the supermundane level of generosity. Right? Therefore, in all our practice until today, it only costs to achieve the samsaric goodness, samsaric happiness, samsaric well-being. It's not really going to cost to achieve liberation, Buddhahood, nirvana, because we haven't realized emptiness. Okay, now we have a half hour for discussion. So please feel free to have a discussion. You have a question, feel free. If you have a doubt, feel free, you can ask the question, or you can have any suggestion. Feel free to have a suggestion.
Geshe,
Yes.
there's one question from the Chinese student.
Mm-hmm.
It is related to the previous teaching. So it reads something like this. The practitioner of the smaller vehicle, which is the Sravakas and Pratika Buddhas, they are practicing the Hinayana path, but they will explain Mahayana to others as well. So the students is having a doubt, because even His Holiness the Dalai Lama in the previous teaching also mentioned that the Sravakas and Pratika Buddha, or the Hinayana practitioner, will explain Mahayana to others. So the student's doubt is, it is said that Hinayana practitioners do not assert Mahayana path or Mahayana teaching to be taught by the Buddha. How can they teach Mahayana teachings to others or share the Mahayana teachings to others? So furthermore, the student was guessing, is it saying that the Hinayana practitioner, it is teaching others the practice method, the method parts of the Mahayana, such as compassion, loving kindness, and bodhicitta, but not the wisdom of emptiness, which is emptiness of the phenomena and emptiness of the person. Geshe-la, can you please explain? Thank you.
I think, thank you so much asking this question. First, whoever asked this question, first you need to have a very clear, differences between the Sarvaka and Pradika Buddha. The Pradika Buddha, even the Buddha lifetime, he or she only attend the teaching related to his or her own practice, only listen the Hinayan path. Mean, listen the teaching about how to achieve merely liberation. Pradika Buddha, then he or she never going to listen, other teaching like Mahayana or Vajrayana, whatever, because they only wish to achieve liberation for themselves. Therefore, he or she fully focus on listening the Hinayan teaching. Then when he got all the complete knowledge how to achieve liberation, since the Pradika Buddha totally, live in solitude alone, kind of solitary kind of area, never ever attend any other teaching. Since he totally becomes separate, with the Buddha, with the other human. Therefore, we go Pradika Buddha means self-realizer or self, becoming Buddha. Means since I no need to rely on the Buddha, I no need to rely on the other master, because I got all the knowledge how to achieve liberation. Therefore, the Pradika Buddha, even though never attend, no interested to attend the Mahayana teaching. Hearer, he or she attend, teaching about how to achieve liberation for themselves. Also, hearer very interested to listen the Mahayana teaching about great compassion, love, bodhicitta, emptiness. All this, knowledge, he listen only to teach others, not, his own, not for on his or her practice. Clear? These two differences. Then yes, the hearer also, can teach not only love, compassion, good heart, also teach bodhicitta and emptiness. Then now you are little, I guess, you are confusing at the Buddha lifetime, the Hinayan practitioner, and today the Hinayan practitioner. At the Buddha lifetime, all the Hinayan practitioner, Saravak and Tathagata Buddha, they didn't say the Mahayana teaching, Buddhist chitta, emptiness, didn't teach by Buddha. They fully agree, they know they taught by Buddha. Then after Buddha passed away, and even though this day, then the kind of Theravada practitioner, they really believe the Mahayana teaching, particularly emptiness, not a bodhicitta, emptiness, mainly emptiness, the concept of emptiness, not really taught by Buddha. It just, later developed by like Nagarjuna and all the master. The of emptiness is not taught by Buddha. Therefore, you say, the Hinayan practitioner don't believe, Mahayan teaching, emptiness taught by Buddha. Mean later they say, not taught by Buddha. It's not saying that Hinayan practitioner at the Buddha lifetime. Yes, for you, a hearer, Shravaka Buddha, also listen Bodhicitta teaching about emptiness, and also teach others. Right? Therefore, what His Holiness said, I think last time, actually hearer mean they listen the Mahayan teaching and taught other, never practice themselves. Therefore, this day, we Mahayan, people look like, like hearer, Sarvaka, just listen the Mahayan teaching and pass to other. They never then practice themselves. He said we look like becoming, Sarvaka hearer. Quite clear? If you're there, you can ask more clarification.
Maybe it's too difficult to type, so there's no response from this person. If you have further questions, you will share.
Okay. Is there any question anyone to discuss?
Geshe, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, in the process of achieving selflessness, so when they study the Dharma, who do they study the Dharma for? Because your end goal is selflessness. At the same time, you are actually studying the Dharma. Geshe, do you feel that it's really quite wasteful? It's like you're just so near. Your end goal is selflessness, and yet you are studying the Dharma very hard.
Okay. Again, thank you so much for asking this question. You are the second person today ask question. Also, this question, I think, asked many people in the past. So, if you have a time, please open the Lamrim, special insight, then identify the object of negation. Object of negation. Okay, because you confuse, the person who practice the Dharma, the person is selflessness. Selflessness doesn't mean the self is not there. Therefore, you need to have a very clear understanding. One self we negate, one self we establish. For example, let's say, permanent human, right? Do you believe permanent human being? No. So we must negate the permanent human being. But we are not negating the general human. So we will say selflessness means thus we negate the independent self. Right? Selflessness means there's not such as independent self, inherently existent self. So we need selflessness means the person is not exist inherently, independently. Therefore, we need to negate the independent person, independent self. There's no independent self. Independent self is selflessness. Then also we establish merely designated person. So for you, I suggest you open the Lamrim and particularly study about, identifying the object of negation, how to negate the negation. Then you become more clear. Very simply, my simple answer for you, there's two types of self. One self is conventional self, which exists merely depend on cause and condition. Second, there's another type of person which is not existent, which is the independent self, like a permanent self. singleness self. So you need to know, differences between the which self we establish, which self we negate. Also, we need to know the self who practice the Dharma, the self which is we negate. So you need to know, you need to differentiate the two types of self. One is exist, practice Dharma, will become Buddha. One is self, we need to negate, no more there. It doesn't mean in the reality there's a true person. But until now, we believe a person exists independently. So when you negate the independent person in the other, then you establish merely designated person. Yeah, therefore, for you easy to understand, you read the Lamrim, the perfection chapter, special insight, identify the object of negation, how to negate the negation. Okay, so today I have only this for you.
Yeah, Geshe, there's questions.
Okay, next question, please.
Yeah. Is there a difference between virtuous actions and accumulating merit as the act of dedicating all virtuous action as
Second, huh? Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's nothing to repeat.
Yeah, I will. Can you hear me, Geshe?
Okay. What did you say?
Yeah. Is the difference between virtuous action and accumulating merit as the act of dedicating all virtuous actions as empty of inherent existence? Then it becomes merit.
Okay, first, verbally accumulating merit, and merit is actually, I cannot say same or totally different. Look at when we act, our action can be physical action, verbal action, mental action, separately, all, we can act all together, right? You can act only verbally, not mentally, not physically. Or you can act all three together. In the same way, when we accumulate merit, we can accumulate merit through only verbally, with the mind, with the body. Right? That's all. Sometimes we accumulate, let's say virtuous action on merely verbally. Sometimes we accumulate merit three together. It's up to, an individual. The second, you are saying, okay, usually we accumulate virtuous action, it cannot be merit. At the end, when you dedicate, when we dedicate, it's become merit, right? Therefore, you remember, for example, giving the things. Giver, the person who giving is a giver, giving, recipient. So when you, for example, when you're giving a pen to someone, the pen is the object to give. You're the person who are giving, you are a giver. This is the thing to give, somebody will receive the pen. You remember the three. In order to accumulate the merit, we need to reflect the giver, give, and receiver. These three are totally empty of inherent existence. With this thought, when you practice, when you give something, then this can be cause to achieve liberation. Right? Also, same thing, when you practice the morality, you are the person who practice the moral. You have the moral, right? Then you practice the moral to whom? As per agent, the subject and the things. So you need to realize the three altogether is empty. Then it's become actually merit to cause liberation. It's not depend, it's before we accumulate virtuous action, when we dedicate, it's become merit. Generally, we can say, yes, all the virtuous action is it's a meritary action. Yes. Okay, next question. No question?
Not at the moment. So Dharma brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, you can turn on your mic. Yes, Charlie. You can.
Yeah. Okay, Sarah, I want to ask one question.
Okay.
Yep. Does it mean that practicing generosity will bring you wealth in this samsara rank unless you reach the first ground and achieve emptiness? And then when you practice generosity, at that time will be the cause for full awakening. So that means there are two divisions of generosity. One is, when you don't realize emptiness, and then the other, same generosity, perhaps you practice the same generosity, but you have a different benefit.
Yes, you are right. We have a term with the mundane and super mundane generosity. When you practice generosity, not really realizing the giver and recipient are empty of inherent existence, then your practicing generosity become the mundane generosity. When you practice generosity based on realizing these three together as an empty, then it's become the supreme, mundane generosity. Because these become mundane and non-mundane, become superior and non-superior. It's just, it's mental action. The mind have to realize, even though this day, now we haven't realized emptiness, but when you offer a flower to the Buddha, it's practice of generosity. Generosity don't have to be, giving to the sentient being. When you offer a flower to the Buddha, you always remember, you need to remember, the flower which I'm going to offer is empty of inherent existence. The person whom I am going to offer, I also empty of inherent existence. The flower whom I'm going to offer to the Buddha is also empty of inherent existence. With these three thoughts together, if you offer a flower, this became kind of a super mundane generosity. Right? Also doing prostration, reciting like mantra, chanting, everything must remember, the three altogether emptiness. Then it's become very close to the super mundane. But we haven't realized emptiness, but there's no way, not now, it become super mundane. It's very similar.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Okay, welcome. No more question, then we can stop our class today. Who have the soft copy or hard copy, please read continuously the point of view from Shanti Deva. Then next Saturday we can discuss more clearly. Then we just follow the root text.
Yeah, Geshe, there's one question. Could Geshe please explain what is non-associated compositional factor? Can you give some example of non-associated compositional factors?
I think I fully understand, why you have a difficulty to understand this, the English term. In Tibetan language, in conditioned phenomena, we divide into three. There's a three subdivision, right? Form, consciousness, then non-associated formation, right? It's very clear. In Tibetan, we say zo, form, shepa, consciousness or awareness. Then the third one, in Tibetan language, we call Lemba, Maimpe, Duche. Lemba Maimbe Duje. Or short, the long, the word, the complete one we call Lemba Maimbe Duje. Right? Then you say Lemba, the one word. Second say Maimba, right? Known. Then Duje is a session, is a set. So Tibetan, we call Demba, Maimba, Duje, 3 words. English exactly, known mean Maimba. Associate mean Demba Maimba. Then formation mean Duje. For you, very difficult to understand the meaning because it's translated from Tibetan language directly. Demba Maimbe Duje. Demba mean like a asset, associate. Mimba mean known. Right? Then formation, Duje. Therefore, long time, that's Demba Maimbe Duje. The short form we call Demin Duje. For you, you don't really struggle what's the meaning of the words. Simply, all the conditioned phenomena we can divide into 3 types. Form types, consciousness type, something neither form nor consciousness. This means the non-aesthetic formation, like a human being. Human being neither form nor consciousness. Bodhisattva neither form nor consciousness. Bodhisattva is a non-aesthetic formation. Don't struggle. Actually, the meaning. What does it mean? Non-aesthetic formation. Simply, there's a conditioned phenomena which is neither form nor consciousness, like a human being, like a Buddha, Bodhisattva, that impermanence, conditioned phenomena. Those are included into non-associated formation. Yeah, sometimes I know it's very difficult as the meaning because it's a Tibetan language. The word translated directly is like a copy, so difficult to understand.
Yeah. Next question. Geshe, sometimes I feel confused for dedication of merits that we practice to the Buddha one day for the benefit of all beings. And sometimes we heard that we need to be human for the next life, to be human with all required conditions to continue our practice. Is this related to a self then? So what should we think about this and what should we do?
Okay, this one, for example, generally there's a 2 friends. They are friends each other. One friend, he totally despite about this life, next life, whatever will happen, I don't care. Whatever I have the merit, all the merit, I just dedicate for becoming Buddha, right? He doesn't consider about next life, what happened next life. He just fully dedicate everything for becoming Buddha. Because he was so compassionate, he or she is very compassionate. He thought becoming Buddha is the most important. I dedicate all my merit for becoming Buddha. The other friend also same, he thought, becoming Buddha is very important. I want to dedicate the merit for becoming Buddha. But he thought the mainly, the person can say, mainly I dedicate my merit for becoming Buddha. In between, I need, things to think for survive. Therefore, you can say that generally, I dedicate my merit for becoming Buddha to benefit all sentient beings, as well as I dedicate my merit to achieve, having all the conducive condition for my Dharma practice. This means generally you dedicate for becoming Buddha, and at the same time, as well, I dedicate merit to achieve all the necessary condition Right? For example, some of for example, you are very sick. Immediately you want to overcome from the sickness. Then if you say, oh, I only dedicate my merit for, free from the sickness, then your motivation becomes very so small. You say, I want to dedicate my merit, overcome me from the sickness, then I can be Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Remember, one arrow can shoot 2 birds, or one arrow can shoot 1 bird. It's just a mental kind of, actions. Yeah, that's, I think you are quite clear about the dedication. Okay, now no more question, then we can stop here today class. Thank you for attending the Saturday class. Bit by bit, I think you are receiving, certain understanding. Your understanding of Dharma become more clear, more deeper, more deep. The most importantly, please, never ever forget to practice Dharma when you are in very difficult situation. Like, losing your parents, separating your parents, having divorce with your life partner, losing your dear relatives, losing your job, losing your health, losing your relationship. So these things are very kind of difficult timing for you. That time, we really need the Dharma. When you are like a very smooth, everything is a very kind of, everything is very comfortable. Then look like that time no need Dharma, right? Therefore, please, apply the Dharma, particularly when you are in very difficult situation. Sometimes you never know what to do, oh, in that moment, suddenly remember the Dharma. Okay, so at the end, so we do dedication through our study Dharma. Definitely, we have accumulated a great amounts of merits. All the merits, all the positive actions we have accumulated today. First, we dedicate all the merit for becoming Buddha ourselves to benefit all sentient beings. Second, we dedicate all the virtuous action to benefit all sentient beings, particularly the people who are sick, the people who are hospitalized, the people who are very dangerous situation, also dedicate the merit to benefit for them. Last, we dedicate the merit for world peace and long life all the lineage guru to teach the Dharma for all human beings. Jamba Bhavya Chitara Kempa Dong Gundo Sambo Deyan Dejen Deda Gunji Jesu Da Lo Jen Gewan Dida Tangje Rado Yusun Shibi Yawa Tangje Ye Ngowa Kanla Chodo Ngaba Dagi Kewe Zawan Digun Zambo Juji Rado Okay, have a good Saturday and be safe. Thank you.